Hello! This year, 2020, has been designated in Scotland as the Year of Coasts and Waters. So I thought today, when I was out for my walk, I would try to capture a flavour of what the coast is like near my home, here in St Andrews on the east coast of Scotland. I'm standing close to the East Sands beach, and as the camera pans round, you should be able to see the pier and the harbour entrance and also the beach itself. It's the smaller of two beaches here in St Andrews. The East Sands and the West Sands are places that are normally enjoyed by both visitors and residents alike for all sorts of activities. It's still a bit chilly, but I can see out in the water there is someone actually swimming today. And in fact, because this is not only my home now, it was where I also grew up. It's where I learned to swim as a child. I have to admit that I have not been in swimming since. The pier behind me is made of sandstone, the local rock and building material here in St Andrews. And you can see, looking at the stones, that some are vertical, some are horizontal, and they're all different colours. That's because the local sandstone does range in tone from quite dark reddish orange right through to pale yellowy gold. The original pier, which dated back to the 1100s, was made of wood, but was badly damaged in a storm, and so in 1655 the local stone from the castle was used, some of it was used, to build the pier that we see today. It marks the entrance to the harbour here in St Andrews, and at one time St Andrews was a very busy port, with ships leaving to take goods to and from ports in the Low Countries and in Germany and France, and also to ports in England and other parts of Scotland. There was a busy fishing fleet too, and also until 1914 a regular ferry ran from here in St Andrews to the town of Dundee to the north and to Leith, the port for Edinburgh, to the south. Nowadays, there are no such ships, no trade with Europe and no fishing fleet. There are, however, a few lobster boatmen and a berth for pleasure craft here in the harbour, which is still a picturesque part of old St Andrews. I've stopped for a wee rest sitting on the pier now, and behind me you can see the ruins of the castle that I mentioned earlier. Beyond it, the sun is just catching the other beach in St Andrews, the West Sands, much longer than this shorter East Sands. Beside the West Sands run the links, the golf courses, for which St Andrews is so very famous and known around the world as the home of golf. I'll talk more about that in another episode. Between the castle and where I'm sitting here for my wee rest on the pier are some sandstone cliffs, and nesting there now is the Fife's biggest colony of fulmars, seagull-type birds which come every spring to use the ledges on the cliffs here for their nests. Bobbing around in the water below, big black and white birds, eider ducks. Their mates, the much less interesting looking mousy brown females, are the ones from whom in the past people have collected downy feathers to make quilts or eider downs. It wouldn't be right to leave this spot without mentioning the ruins of the great cathedral you can see behind me. It was destroyed during the Reformation in the mid-1500s, and stone was taken from it for buildings around the town, so very little now remains. But the twin towers of the gable end are very characteristic of the St Andrews skyline, and next to it the square tower, known also as St Rule's Tower, named after the Greek monk who first, according to legend, brought the relics of St Andrews to this part of Scotland.